channel is something like how to mental ill, in a way that's opposite of whatever they say will help you manage. They just like to take advantage of the vulnerable, the easily exploitable. And I do pity you, I do pity you. But you make me sick at the same time. You make me sick with how you fall in line every time they tell you to go somewhere or do something that's opposite anything logical, sensible. Everything is counterintuitive. Intuitive. I just said counterintuitive. Everything is counterintuitive, yeah, everything is counterproductive, but nobody gives a fuck. 'Cause they don't even notice that they're running in place, they're running in place. They've been doing. I hear it. I just want to let you know I hear myself, okay? Do you hear yourself talk, sing, cough after you vape? Just to let you know, if you vape, you're gonna die in like 5 years. I'm just giving you a little heads up. Okay? I know you don't care, but that one. They're running in place with a camera in their face at all times. And they tell themselves this is normal. They tell themselves that all the other people that are doing the same thing, but from over there, they're saying the wrong thing. I don't like that. Okay. I was hoping it would work, but it didn't. Is it that one I'm playing? Everyone loves to pretend that they're right. Pretend that they're right. Why do you have to be right? I've been right my entire life, and it doesn't feel good. It never felt good, 'cause most people will never come to the conclusion that they've been lied to. It's easier to keep believing lies word idolize, a person, place, or thing. Then admit that you are dead inside, and you don't even know where you stand on anything. It's easier to imagine that things could be better, while you never have to be accepting of what you could change if you just realize the game. Yeah, I mean, it's all a game, and most people, they don't see that, but I guess that's why, if you realize that, you can win, because you don't play with them, you know? You live in your own little world, you play your own separate game. Mine is called Let's Stay the Fuck Alive. That's it, baby. That's our thing. But a lot of people think that protesting this thing or that thing is gonna make this thing or that thing stop. It won't, but at least you participate in the photo op. These people make me sick, dude. They really do. And if you stick around this channel long enough, you'll realize that I don't go along with anything that they're pushing. People think they like me, and then they realize that I don't go along with what they want me to go along with. And I'm sure they'd assume that that's in spite of me, but no. Identity means nothing. Identity means nothing. Identity means nothing. The only identity that could possibly mean something is child of God. I need to write that down before I forget it. Child of God, the only identity that matters. I don't know how I'm going to fit that on a poster, but we'll see how that shit works out. Yeah, you know, these posters that I do are very, like, protest rally-esque. Realize that? Well, the left likes to make a bunch of posters in reaction to Donald Trump. Amy Gross likes to make a bunch of posters in reaction to the left, but also in reaction to a lot of other stuff, too. There's this bullshit world we live in that has this left-right paradigm that's so fucking retarded, and people on both sides are just... they're up their own asses, you know? They're up their own asses with their little iPhones. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing you can fit that whole iPhone in your asshole. You know, who knew? Who knew your asshole was that big? But you stretch it. You stretch it! Because you gotta have that iPhone no matter what. You die without it, right? That's why it's called an iPhone. Anyway. Sorry, I had to smoke for that. Said I was gonna go into the grocery store, so that's what I'm fixing to do. Where are my shoesies? I need my shoesies. They don't like it when you walk in without shoesies. But, yeah, it's unfortunate that people just like being brainwashed. But yeah, it totally fits that whole identity thing. You know, that's why the left-right that's why that divide is so stark. Because people want that division. They want to feel included in a group. But if that's the case, then that means that other people are excluded. So what's really weird is that the people that say all inclusive, that's not true at all. ask them how they feel about Trump supporters being included, okay? They're not all inclusive. Now, I probably sound like I'm always trying to make a case for Trump supporters. No, I'm just trying to illustrate the fact that, like, that's bullshit. Like, when you say that, that's a misleading term. If they would just say, yeah, we only accept gay people, or we only accept liberals, or, like, people that are fine with this fucking sexual, gender clusterfuck, okay? Like, if y'all would just be honest, that would be far better than what you're doing. But anyway, I really don't give a fuck anymore, because people go on and on about it, and I'm like, it's only a threat if you want it to be a threat, you know? But I don't have kids, though. If I had kids, it probably would bother me more. But it's crazy, though. Like, they'll bitch about the LGBT stuff before they'll bitch about smartphones in schools. And, like, how social media is, like, destroying children's brains. They're like teenagers, you know? They don't have an attention span because their dopamine receptors are completely fried. So, that's 100% parenting problem. Like, if the parents actually had a backbone, they would resist that. And if you have enough people resisting, what can they do? They can't get away with what they're trying to get away with if there's a significant chunk of people that resist it. But that's precisely the problem. You don't have enough people with that mindset that realize that they don't have to go along. And I know you got these stupid liberal moms, if you can even call them that they're so worried about their kids not fitting in. They're more concerned, and they're doing that vicariously, by the way. They don't actually give a fuck about their kids. They're saying that because they're putting themselves in their kids' shoes, which isn't empathy at all. Okay? So they assume that their kids have to fit in. And if they don't, like, they're going to really struggle. I mean, maybe they will, but if they have a functioning brain, if their prefrontal cortex is still intact, that would be better than them fitting in with a bunch of retarded children, okay? That are all on ADHD medication, antidepressant medication, and anti-anxiety medication, and mood stabilizers, and eventually antipsychotics, okay? That would be far better. But yeah, you can't tell them that because it's all about fitting in. And I guarantee you that's why so many people take pills. It's not really because they actually think that they need them, but because it's such a common thing to do. And it's also a common thing to talk about identity, and it's a common thing to go on and on about how much of a victim you are because of symptoms of said disorder, you know? But anyway. Shit. It's just sad. It's sad. It's very sad. What people have subjected themselves to. And what people are subjecting their children to. And the fact that they are not even questioning it, wondering, is this good for my well-being? Is this good for my children? Like, yeah, that's why I didn't want to raise kids in this world, because yeah, most people don't raise their kids, and that's why our society keeps getting progressively worse. And I typically don't use that word, but when they use that word as an adverb, it's always bad. So that should tell you right there that, like, the whole point of progress is to go downhill, okay? And if you dumb people down through their habits and through materialistic culture, then they can't rely on themselves, and they don't know who they are, and they don't have a sense of purpose without going along with whatever's pushed in the culture, you know? And that's why I think that what I talk about resonates with people that are more in touch with their humanity and more in touch with that nostalgic vibe. And I don't mean nostalgic like, oh, I miss the 90s. I mean, who thought that that would be a thing to miss? But it's like I saw this on my feed. Like some Gen X person was like, this is so depressing. This Gen X dude was like, Gen X is saying goodbye. It's like, dude, like, why don't you just encourage people to off themselves? You know, like, really, like, the fact that people have that mindset and they think that that's healthy. I mean, I'm not saying, like, be in a state of denial. But I feel like there's some kind of, not happy medium, because there's no such thing as happy medium, but mediocre medium, okay? Oh, write that down. That's how it's going to be on the poster. I'm going to cross out the word happy and write medium above it. I think that's pretty cool. My mediocre medium is to do reaction posters to the world crumbling around me. But I think that the world was always crumbling. And I think that people have always been stupid and self-obsessed and inclined to fall into the traps that have been laid out for them. Okay? So, this time we're in is not that unique. But because everybody's such a narcissist now, they're acting like they're such a fucking victim because of it. And yes, things are bad. And I've always had that mindset of like, I was always missing something. Like, I feel the same exact way now that I did in the 90s. It's just that the 90s were better than right now. But that's just a vibe. That's just a feeling, you know? Like, when you have an old soul, like, you know that the world is always shit, and you know that people are always stupid. So all these stupid, nostalgic people, like, you're whining because things are different now. Yeah, things are always going to be different, dude. You can still listen to fucking Steely Dan, okay? You can still do a lot of the stuff that you used to do. I mean, yeah, a lot of shit's changed. The marijuana's changed. That's why we don't smoke it anymore. That's something that makes me upset. Is that the weeds change. And I mean, that's a major part of like why I got so emotional this last time that I quit, because I realized that, yeah, if they're changing this, if they're altering this plant and feminizing it, which means jacking up the THC, which is what makes people psychotic, okay? Literally everything is being feminized, okay? Even the cannabis plant. I should probably talk about that on stage. Nobody would get it, but I don't care. It needs to be said. But yeah, the fact that they're fucking with the plants, they can't leave anything alone. It's all to make money, too. It's all to make money, and it's all to make people even crazier than they already are. And so people won't be thrown in jail anymore, but they will be thrown into a psych ward and forced to take neuroleptics, which are way worse than SSRIs, by the way. But yeah, like the fact that they're doing that to that plant, that's why I said what I said in one of the previous videos about how, like, I can get high as fuck, but everything's still shit, you know? Like, no amount of marijuana is going to remove me from that reality. Marijuana used to, like, help me accept reality, the reality of myself and my condition and the way that I view things. But now I don't really need it anymore, and it's not really doing anything but bringing me down. So if it can get you high, but if it's still bringing you down, then it's not really worth it. You know? Dude, I just thought of a joke. You know how muscle relaxers supposedly relax your muscles? I don't think they do. I think that they make your brain dumb. That's what all the pills do, but I know that because I had to take a muscle relaxer around this time last year. Still have some. They're fixing to expire pretty soon, so maybe I ought to use them. But yeah, I need to write this down too. Muscle relaxers relax your actual muscles. If there's any muscle that needs to be relaxed, it's my brain. But that's why I don't want to take psychiatric drugs. Nobody's gonna get my jokes because you have to be like on another level psychologically in order to understand like what I'm referencing. But thinking muscle. I need to relax my thinking muscle. Is that funny? It's probably not. It seems like it's clever, but it's probably not that clever. There might be some meat to that. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, yeah. No point in nostalgia. No point in looking back at the way things were when you grew up and the music was so much better. The music was always better before, you stupid fuck. That's always true. That's always fucking true. Okay? I feel so bad for Gen Z, though. I really do. And I was talking to some Zoomers today who are so fucking smart. And I told them, I was like, y'all's generation gets blamed for everything. It's not fair because it's your piece of shit parents that put that phone in your hand that's taking away all your damn initiative, you know? And I can understand why they don't have initiative, like looking at the world crumbling around them. But, you know, they came up with that Delulu is the Salulu, which is very similar to, you know, my life motto, apparently. If the world is an illusion, delusion is the solution. And that really has been the solution my entire life. That's why I'm still alive. So, if there's anybody that I can positively impact, if there's any generation that I would hope to help, it would be them. So, yeah. I mean, I'll help anybody. Old, young, black, white, male, female. Hopefully gay males. Straight males tend to want to do stuff with me that I don't want to do with them, unfortunately, but that's biology.